Friday. So we did a little poll to see what people would want to learn about. And while I didn't have as many people look at it, we actually had a tie. So we are going to talk today about changing your company's perception in terms of how your audience really views you. So on Monday, I will be talking about lean marketing and how you can do a better job, a more effective marketing for less money typically. So we'll talk about that on Monday. So stay tuned. So today we're going to be really talking about perception and how your company is viewed and how you can change that. So, really, here's a couple examples on why you might need to do that. So, say you are a roofing company, for example, who has a pretty good track record, but you had a couple bad hires that completely tanked your reputation. People just really don't like working with you because of one to two bad people. I mean, you don't have to have a lot to have people really upset with you, and all of your reviews are terrible now. People just are talking bad about you, and you've gotten rid of them. But now what? How do you let people know that you're a good company again? Another example might be you are actually a larger company than people give you credit for. You may be just a local trades company or a brick and mortar company, but you actually have more locations than people know about. And people prefer the big national wide companies because they feel like they'll get a better deal, better guarantees, but you have all of that too. So, how do you change that perception? So, those are just two very specific examples. This can work with a lot of companies. So first off, what do you do? So you need to find out really what the perception is. A few bad reviews might be you just assume everyone thinks that, or does everyone actually think that? So ask your customers, talk to people on the street if you're a big enough company. Do a survey, talk to your customers, your employees, your prospective audience, and ask them if this is an issue, how much they care about this, what do they know about your company. And you can even ask competitors. If you have a good enough relationship with some of your competitors or other people in the industry, ask them what they hear about you. Ask them if people aren't working with you because of this. So once you know that, okay, this is really what the perception of my company is, you can say, okay, this is what I want it to be, and be very specific. So we are going to, as soon as you decide what that messaging is, we are going to completely forget about that bad perception or what was thought of your company. So you aren't going to say that anymore because that doesn't help you. As soon as you start saying it, if you say, oh, we got rid of these people, so we've hired good people. Well, why'd you have to get rid of them? Oh, you have a bad reputation. Oh, maybe I shouldn't go with you in the first place. Okay. As soon as we stop talking about that, that can be forgotten. The internet remembers, but if you put enough good stuff out there, it gets buried. I mean, this is really what we're doing. We're burying what you don't want people to think about you anymore. So, if there's one thing you're changing, you know, bad hires, people don't know that you're a big enough company. We are changing that with one message. We're not changing eight things right now. We are focusing on one thing and we're saying this is what we're doing now. This is the good thing. This is our core values are this. We aren't even talking about these things. This is our core values and this is what's important to us. So if there is something within your company that needed to be changed or still needs to be changed, do that now. Do it before you start trying to change that perception. Don't wait until after you're getting the message out to make that change because we're actually going to start at home. We're going to make sure everything is good and sound in your business so that all of your all of your employees believe that this is the company, that you're actually bigger than everyone perceives you to be. that you are a good company that takes care of your employees and doesn't overcharge and delivers on time, all of those fun things. Make sure your employees believe it, because if your employees do not believe it, you are not going to succeed. So you need to make any changes in-house first if it needs to be done, so that your employees believe it. So and really, the messaging can be towards your employees. So if while you're crafting your message, your mantra, the new thing that you're coming out with, new tagline, whatever it is, make sure it's something that doesn't mention the bad and that your employees completely buy in. Once your employees completely buy in and they agree and they're like, yes, this is who we are, when they're talking to your customers or new prospective leads, they will bring that up. They will reinforce this. So you have to have your employees on board. Next, you really want to start with your clients. Again, we're not going to the public. We want to make sure that the people that you really want to buy in are buying in. And you don't want to lose any clients because they are still thinking that you have the wrong people hired, that you're not as big, that maybe they should go to someone else, that you can't deliver on time, that you don't have as many offerings, whatever that might be. Make sure your clients know, because we want to keep them on board. But also, they speak to other people. They'll speak to your prospects. They will bring other people in. So if they are bought into your new message and they understand who your company is and why it's so great and why they should continue working with you, they'll bring other people in. They'll spread that message. So if someone's asking, well, what about this company? And they go, oh, I do know about that company. And they will share that message. So that's why it's important. So now that you've gotten that message out to your key people, everything that you put out there now is going to have this new messaging, new tagline, new mantra, just some info, whatever it is, you need to have that out there. And when you're actually, I'll back up just a little bit. When you're reaching out to your clients, you can do a phone call, you can do a mass email telling people about the new message. You're again not going to address what's happened. You will have addressed it with people if that directly affected them. Don't skip that. But when we're changing the perception, we're going with, this is our new thing. We've changed it in this way. And then everything after that message, after that phone call, is all about this new statement. Now, you may not need a big, bold statement. You may not need the phone call to every single client. Maybe you just jump right to a stealthy message in every correspondence so that they know, oh, they're really big on this part. So once you go to the public, again, we aren't starting with the public. They're the last thing. Your client base or your consumer base. We don't want to start there because we want to make sure everyone else is bought in first. So, because they need to believe it. If they call you and your employees don't believe it, they're not going to believe it. So, in every statement, every advertising piece, every promotional item, everything is going to have this new piece in it. It's your new mantra, your new tagline, whatever that is. Again, let's talk if you are having any challenges with that. We can really figure out what that statement should be and how to go about it. But so we'll go back to these examples so that you have a roofing company that's had some bad apples, but they're no longer working with your company. But your reputation is tarnished just because of what they've done. So what you're going to do is not say any of the negative. You're just going to not worry about that. You're going to jump straight to the positive and say, you know what, we've hired this amazing person. This Josina is now working with our company, has had amazing track record, and she aligns with all of our core values, which are responsiveness, integrity, et cetera, et cetera. So now you're saying, okay, we're hiring these people, we're reinforcing it because of those core values that are important. And it's important to your customers. Hopefully you've already talked to them and understand what they really care about, and you're reinforcing that. So now that you're everyone on your team is in the right place and you're really pushing those core values and you're saying, this is what we are about. All of your TV, radio, billboards, traditional, or Google Ads, your website, um, any social media, and even in your SEO, when people are searching for those things, when you talk about your business, you need to reinforce your core values and how you make sure that that's a thing. So you've brought on someone that reinforces that. You are now engaging with the community and things are going well because of these core values. And of course, you want to make sure you have every satisfied or even kind of satisfied customers putting out new reviews because you want to bury those bad reviews. You want people to say, "Oh, they had maybe some negative reviews here, but that was a while ago. They've had so many good reviews. It looks like maybe they got rid of that." And you can actually ask your employees to reinforce some of these things. If maybe what the issue was is that the pricing was bad, or they probably a better example is they just stopped calling you. They dropped the ball. You can actually ask your customers if they could, in their review, talk about how responsive we were, how fast you got the work done, so that when someone is looking at those reviews, all of the new reviews talk about something that is different than those old reviews. So people can say, okay, something's changed here. And then of course, you get enough, and those are going to be buried, and people are going to just see all the really good, positive current reviews. We can talk a lot more about how to do that effectively. I have a way to do that as well. So, and say you're the other company, you're have a great reputation, but you're seen as the local small business, which actually in your area, you're a decent bit bigger than a lot of your nationwide competitors. So, how do you get your message out there? So, a lot of times you start with saying, hey, we actually have guarantees, we have a network, we have everything those big guys have, but you're bringing it local. And that's where you can bring in those pictures of your entire team. You can show your fleet. Sometimes that doesn't compare if ever, you see pictures of these really big companies um, that have their entire fleet or their northwestern region, and all their pictures are there. So depending, obviously, all of this is depending on who you're going after and what your challenges are. But really, if you bring it back to the fact that you are the largest local company, that you have more resources locally, that you have more guarantees locally, you have a better name locally, and just reinforce the fact that you have the better guarantees, you have the better service locally than they could get from anyone else, then that starts changing that perception. And you can still be the local company, but you become the best local company. You're the best company for your area. So, you know, start looking at what those challenges are, what your issues are. Make sure it's actually an issue, because that's always the biggest challenge is it really the real perception, or is it a perceived perception? So if you can verify that that's really what needs to happen, or what the perception is and what needs to be changed, then you can go in and say, okay, let's figure out how to do it. So here's my calendar link. Let's talk if you want to look at what you need to do to change your company's perception. All right, so that was a lot of information. Thanks for hanging out, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. And if it's Friday for you now, have a wonderful weekend.